Good afternoon. This is March the 25th on Monday. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a meeting of the Finance Committee. My name is Tom Kendall, Chair of the committee. To my left is Mr. John Swayzer, a member of the committee. To my right is Mr. Todd Siebert, also a member. We've got two items to come before this committee today, and Mr. Dando, I believe you'll be starting this off on the first one.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is part of the CDBG programs overall that the state offers to cities and counties to operate to benefit low and moderate income households in the community. This is for housing specifically, and Troy has never actually operated a housing program. We've always partnered with the county in their overall county program. Recently, the states changed the program, and now it's a formal partnership agreement, which is why we're before you. In the past, the county has tried to spread the beneficiaries throughout the county, and that led them to try to reduce the amount that was spent in Troy, but I'm happy to report that they do continue to improve housing in Troy. This last time, for instance, the Troy allocation of the county's budget for housing improvements was $106,500 for 8 units, and instead they did about 3 times that amount. So the difficulty that the county's experienced is finding qualified projects in particularly rural settings. They tend not to qualify under the federal guidelines. So that's why having Troy involved is good. The reason that we want to continue and encourage you to is that it increases the amount of dollars that the county can qualify for. So it's actually a benefit to our citizens, those that qualify, and recommend that you continue the agreement. It's of no cost to us. Miami County administers it with their existing inspectors and administrators, so it's easy for our staff, certainly, and benefit to our citizens.
Okay. Where does the funding come from?
It's federal CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grants, and it's passed down from the feds to the states, and then the states to the cities and counties. And
okay, same as what we're getting for the other things we're doing, but now just residential.
Correct.
Okay.
This is residential only.
So are these,
Go ahead.
So are these grants then, or are they low interest loans, or?
A mix, depending upon what the project is and how expensive. For instance, if it's a minor repair and it's for a low income homeowner, it can be a grant. If it's for a rental property that needs to be upgraded with some safety and health features, that's probably going to be a loan or maybe a half loan, half grant, depending again upon how it's qualified.
But the county determines all that.
Correct.
With the homeowner.
That's correct.
Okay.
Our staff does recommend certain projects, certainly when we have a property maintenance issue that's occurring on a given property. If they will qualify for the federal funds, the referrals made, and the county, if they can, will take care of that.
Okay.
How do we publicize that?
I was going to ask that.
Oh, sorry, John.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Probably the biggest way is through some newspaper articles, but usually through the social service agencies. The referrals that the county gets typically come through one of the social agencies.
Okay.
You said this is for landlords and for homeowners?
Dwelling units is the primary qualification.
So would the leaseor or the leasee be the one that applies for it? Would it be the landlord?
It would be the property owner, so it would be the landlord.
Okay.
Now, it'd be based upon the qualifications of the tenants, and the landlords have to make a commitment to keep the property accessible to low and moderate income people for 10 years.
Okay. And I think I saw someplace in here that there's a review committee for Miami County that looks all these properties.
That's correct.
Do we know who's on that review committee, or?
It changes from year to year.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
So just to clarify, this would be the second formal agreement. First formal agreement was in 2017, so this is a successor. So it's really no different than the last time. It is a four-party agreement. Tip City and Piqua are involved as well, and so getting the updated language and coordinating with the county puts us at this date. And since the requirement is, I think, it has to be filed by May 3rd, so we are requesting emergency legislation.
Okay. Anybody else, any other questions?
I will point out before you go on that this will authorize the application to be made for the grant funds. There's no guarantee, although Miami County does have a very good track record.
Todd?
I have no problem going forward and doing it as emergency.
Okay.
I have no problems either. Do it as emergency.
All right, unanimous then. Okay, thank you. Now the second item?
Second item is our annual salt purchase. Again, we would like to participate in the ODOT bid. This is the winter bid for rock salt. There is an April 19th deadline for participation. The request just went out from ODOT not too long ago, so we are requesting emergency legislation. We used, I believe, the second highest number of tons of salt this past season in recent years. It was a little more than we've typically done. I think it was at least 300 tons more than the previous season. The two seasons prior to that were unseasonably warm, so that knocked the average down. We have approximately 250, 270 tons in the barn. As we are looking forward into next year, of course not knowing what the season's going to be like, we typically, well, we have the salt barn that can hold 1,000 tons. We will replenish it during the season, so when we get down to a certain amount, they ship in 50-ton capacity trucks. We are asking to purchase 1,500. That way, if projections hold, or if it's similar to this year anyway, by the end of next season, we would hope that we would have at least 500 tons for the following year. We budgeted $75,000. If we assume a $75 a ton price, then that would be 1,000 tons, not 1,500. I want to call your attention to that. We right now, this past season, we're paying approximately $65 a ton. We have no idea what the bids will come back at. ODOT has been they've shown very good bids, particularly compared to some of the other co-ops that have issued solicitations. I did talk to the auditor, Mr. Frigge, let him know, and he is fine that if in the middle of the year, if projections come back higher, then we may need to do a reappropriation towards the end of the year, or we will adjust the budget request for 2020 accordingly, depending on the timing of the need.
Right.
Because of our requirement to get our authorization into ODOT by April 19th, we are requesting emergency legislation.
All right. Unfortunately, it's something we need to have. in Ohio. So,
So what do we do with the excess? Do they just hold it? If our barn hoards 1,000,
So we are, by participating, we are required to at least purchase 90% of what we ask for, with the provision that we can purchase up to 110%. If we have a year where we're using more than we anticipated, we can order even more. Again, we have the one bin that holds 1,000 tons. We do have storage space elsewhere that we could, if we didn't run into a problem where we don't use nearly enough salt.
but we have 250 already in that storage space, right? So we have capacity for another 750.
Right.
So
We would not buy it all at once. We're not required to get all
Okay.
1,500 tons at once.
That's what I was
We
asking.
order it as we need it, but by the end of the season, we need to have at least purchased 90% of the 1,500 tons.
which would be by this time next year.
Correct.
How do we get the brine then?
We take some of the rock salt, and we have a process where we'll dissolve it into secondary tanks that we have over at the maintenance facility.
I didn't know if one was cheaper than the other, but it's evidently going to be
No,
about
it's
the same thing.
It's the same salt.
Okay. I have nothing else.
Is there a minimum amount we have to buy? Is 1,500 the minimum?
It's whatever we estimate that we want. When we tell ODOT, then that's the amount that we are committed to at least 90% of that number. The 15, in our case, we're recommending 1,500 is the number that we would tell ODOT.
so if we totaled 1,000, all we could really buy then would be 1,100 at the most,
At most, at that price.
at that price.
They may sell us more, but it won't be at the bid price.
Yeah.
Which would historically be higher.
That would be our estimate, yes.
I don't,
I've
I mean,
never
I'm not
known
trying,
a salt company to charge us less.
no, in the middle of season. No, I'm not trying to micromanage, I'm trying to figure out, I mean, you guys do it better than me, so that makes sense. So 1,500, if that's what makes sense, then that's good. I don't have any, I mean, I don't have any problem with it. As long as we have it, but we do have the storage capacity. I mean, I don't want to buy it and then not have a place for it.
Yeah, we'll manage that, yes.
Okay.
Anybody else? John?
Let's move forward. This is an emergency, is it?
It is.
Oh, it is? I'm good with emergency.
Yeah, I don't have that problem because we have to get it in by the 19th, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, unanimous, let's go forward. Nothing else come before finance?
No, sir.
Thank you, meeting adjourned.